Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Welcome to our third global observance of International Men's Day. My name is Mathusha Kalamenon, and I'm the media coordinator at Voice of Men 360. Voice of Men 360 is a nonprofit organization founded in 2020 and is based in London, Canada. Voice of Men 360 was born out of seeing the tremendous need and stepping up to provide services to help support and overcome men and boys' life's challenges. We are the official representative of International Men's Day in Canada, and International Men's Day has been serving for over 21 years, and so far 94 countries around the world have proudly joined together and are doing various activities regularly. IMD follows 6 pillars, which is the overall focus of well-being for boys and men, and we aim to follow in the same footsteps as well. So as we begin to celebrate our third global observance of International Men's Day, every year we at Voice of Men 360 celebrate the International Men's Day as a week-long celebration taking place from November 13th to November 19th. We want to create awareness about boys and men's matters through discussions and recognize those who have been contributing and dedicating their lives to the well-being of boys and men on this special occasion. So we strive to reach out to more people and give them the opportunity to share their stories and serve more. So before we bring our special guests in today, I would like to go through our disclaimer at this time. We would like to remind you that the Voice of Men 360's mission is always delivered with good faith toward a peaceful harmony. The views and opinions expressed in today's episode are those of our speakers and do not necessarily represent the Voice of Men 360. Our organization engages in discussion forums to offer inspiration and create awareness of the issues of men who wish to overcome their life challenges. We are not providing medical or therapeutic advice. Should you require that type of assistance, we recommend you contact a medical professional immediately. If you have any questions or concerns about today's episode or any of Voice of Men 360 content, please email us at info@voiceofmen360.org. Thank you. So today, as I mentioned, we have some amazing speakers who will be joining us today to share their messages. And we all have something valuable to contribute today in observance of the International Men's Day. So today I would like to start off with our first special guest, which is Samuel Alexander. A few words about him is that he's the founder of the Husbands Club for Trinidad and Tobago. He is a conscious-minded husband since 1981, and at the age of 26 years old, he was a father for 2 girls and 1 boy, and he grew up in a heavily religious Christian atmosphere and has remained so because of the emphasis of marriage and a great family life and great morals. The Husbands Club TT exists to provide a non-threatening atmosphere for husbands and other men to freely and honestly share their thoughts and discuss ways to bolster friendly relationships, lovers relationships, as well as marriage relationships and the rights of children. So today he will be talking about the relationship and the specialties between the husband and father. Samuel, we'd like to hear from you.
Introduction. Thanks for that introduction so much. A husband as a role model, because the name of our club is Husbands Club, so I'll spend the first half of my time speaking about the role of our husband operates as a role model. Of course, when anyone becomes a husband, it means that the unmarried men are now looking on to him in a different light. The unmarried men, whether his friends or enemies, will now be expecting a certain kind of conduct that necessarily they were not expecting of him before. So without his knowing or not, he is now a role model for all the unmarried folks. And they can be quick to call up, to bring him up to scratch. If in their mind they see some kind of action or hear some kind of verbal discussion that they think should not come from a husband. So you put yourself, as a husband, you put yourself in a certain bracket to be scrutinized even though you did not want to be scrutinized, and it is not a qualification. It more come as a result of being married. You are looked upon in a different light. How will you treat your wife? So all married, unmarried people are looking to you as a husband now to see if your wife will look pleasing when you all are together. If she'll always be sulky and with a bee's face every time with you. They will want to make sure to see that you can freely embrace your wife at the right time and in right places, and the way you'll speak to your wife in public, since in private you'll also expect to speak well, but it would not be there. So you are a role model in even speaking how a husband is supposed to speak to a wife. The whole world and other married people are also looking on to see. You can never tell if you are behaving just like them or if you are worse than them. And you don't, that's not necessarily what you entered into when you chose to be married. You wanted peace and quiet, and you wanted to take care of the wife that you have chosen. So as a role model, you are there for even your children, which we'll come to when we're dealing with the father. But just being a husband without any children, wherever you choose to live, whether it is in your parents' home as a start, or in your in-laws' home, they too will be looking on and trying to make sure that any quarreling that they hear, make sure it doesn't get out of hand. And they will want to hear loving words. As a role model, as a husband, you are called upon to always be loving, to be kind, to be courteous, to show manners, to show respect. The role and natural role of a husband. It is far and wide. Even at your job, the woman who would have hugged you plenty and hugged you and kiss you up and so on, they might not want to say, wait, I can't kiss up Peter now, I can't kiss up Paul, I can't kiss up, I can't hug up him now because he's now a married man. So this attribute of husband goes a long way. And they will be looking to see now how you treat other women, be they married or unmarried. Are you still showing heavy concern for other women around your workplace or your religious place of worship, or when you go to play sport? So that the role, when you take that husband role, it puts you in a place now where you are on show, whether you like it or not. So it's a very important aspect of one's life, being a husband. And so when I founded this husbands club in Trinidad and Tobago in 2006, it was because there was about a week of front page news of plenty lovers and wives being ill-treated for about a week. And something just hit me. Sam, something has to be done. Something has to be done. So I decided to found this club and to also join up with many other men groups so that we can discuss and provide atmosphere for men to discuss and find out why all the rage against the lovers. People who you once would have said, I love you so much. I want to care for you. I will give you my whole life if push comes to shove. What will cause somebody who will say that to sometime after want to get rid of you? What was the expectation of a husband then that would have changed and say, all my expectations of you, I no longer want you? We don't want to hear that. None of us will want our sons or our daughters to end up in such an atmosphere in a married relationship. And I'm sure all the other presenters here, including the host, will share the view that everybody expects peace and love and kindness to permeate any marriage. But as we know, the real world, from what we have lived, does not allow for that all the time. But how to prevent it? It is a matter of making up our minds as husbands. For those who are listening, International Men's Day we are celebrating tomorrow. From now, we are making up our mind that from now onwards, if we didn't do it before, I will be the best husband in the world. I will be the best husband. Despite what my wife does, I will stick to my marriage vows. So look at how important making that decision, because if you don't make it and keep it as a remembrance in your mind every time, when something comes up with maybe your wife took some comment you said out of context, or she is responding to something you said to somebody out of context, or she is responding to some news that somebody told her about you, so that we have to be ready as husbands. Of course, the discussion we would have had with our fiancé before we married, I am sure it would have included discussions about how you will respond if so and so happens. Nobody goes into a business without first planning how the first and 2-3 years of the business could run. And same thing for marriage. We should know that this in the first year of marriage, this could happen, this could happen. Second year, this could happen, this could happen. What will we do to prevent it? Those are the kind of discussions that must take place before. But then after a while now, husbands, most people who got married at a certain age expect to have children. So now you are now the role model now as a father. So you have children growing up and they need to see how a father is supposed to behave, especially their sons. Your sons looking at you, so that when they try to treat women, they will treat women as good as you treat your wife. And maybe how you treat your sisters and how you treat women in general. So you now have somebody now who is looking up to you for an example, how to be a man, how to stand up and do only the right things and do not get involved in violence against other young boys, against women in general, against other children, and to respect authority, be it religious, political, or community-wise. So as a father now, you are now extended your role, modeling now, your modeling role to now of being a father, where you have to now set an example on how to keep that child, along with your wife, into the atmosphere needed of love and caring, knowing that as a child, the child will make endless mistakes. Are you planning to have the longest belt in the world to deal with all infringements that a child will make? Or do you plan never to be that child, but to use words of comfort? Let them know before they do something what is expected of them. And so the role of a father is so important. First, I hope I am within my time there as sharing as far as the role of a father. And there will be children who might not have fathers in your neighborhood. They might be looking upon you to see how a father behaves. Am I within context, host?
Yes.
Good. So even as a father, you are a role model to your daughters now, who will make sure that they choose a spouse later in your life just like you. You want them to choose somebody just like you. So you have to make sure that your conduct in the home is what you will expect the world to get. Else they will follow your example if it's bad. And you wouldn't want that. So all husbands, and as a role model, if you have your daughters, they might end up choosing somebody as bad as you if you are bad, and if you are good as you. What do you expect? Not for them to choose somebody as good as you. So therefore, we have an example. International Men's Day brings that whole aspect of a father role in full perspective, and also of being a husband. Also, there can be just lovers. There are men who are not as yet husbands, they are not as yet fathers. Again, they are also mothers. They are also modeling a behavior. There are men who will never get married. They have actually decided they are going to live a very unselfish life, and they just will not be married. Are they not still a role model now? There are men who will decide, I never want to father any child. Aren't you still a role model? Yes, because you must be civic-minded in your community so that people in your community can say, the man that we can depend on. I can call upon him anytime for help in this area or in that area. He is not somebody who will cause bacchanal in the area. He is a peacemaker as a model. He is a peacemaker. All men. International Men's Day is actually bringing to the fore that all men supposed to be peacemakers. What about if everybody in Russia and in Ukraine were peacemakers? What a world we would have preferred. So the call is now being handed out to us. The call is now in full bloom. I'm so thankful for Voice of Men that has been pushing this aspect since the 13th of November and up to our climax tomorrow. I'm so glad to be part of what I've been hearing throughout the week so that we can continue even after International Men's Day, fulfilling all the desires that we know men supposed to stand for. Peace, love, joy, faithfulness, sacrificing for your husband, sacrificing for your children to make sure that everybody is safe and sound, being a good provider, being a good protector. So many roles are called upon as husbands and as fathers, and even whether you are not a husband or not a father. So host, I hope that my time, please. I know we have other speakers, and I am so I think I am really coming to the end, and I want to thank you and thank Mr. Vishal Sivam for giving me the opportunity to share.
Yes, thank you so much, Samuel, for sharing your perspectives. You mentioned a lot of valuable points, and just to reiterate to our audience who is watching and to those who may have joined late, Mr. Samuel Alexander, he's the founder of the Husbands Club for Trinidad and Tobago, and he mentioned very important parts about the importance of the role of a husband and a father and the many expectations they bear among the communities they are in, and the marital laws that they're forced to endure that perhaps they're maybe not aware of in the very beginning. So they're very valuable points, and I thank you, Samuel, for sharing that, and I hope that this can contribute to our communities around the world and to those who are watching this to hopefully share some knowledge that you were able to give to us. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Thank you. So next up, we're going to have Pedro Menéndez. So he's actually from Colombia. He's one of our next special guests in line to share their perspectives with us today. So he's actually an architect, MS in psychology, and he is a men's activist since 2019 in Colombia, and he has studied asymmetry in Colombia's family justice and physiosocial information about genders, and he has written many public agencies. He has written to many public agencies, and asked for equity from men in family laws. So his topic today that he's going to be sharing with us will be in regards to family justice in terms of his experience in Colombia. Can we have Pedro at this time?
Hola, buenas noches. Muchas gracias por la invitación. Desde Colombia, pues quería contarles un poco mi historia personal, en donde yo, por algún problema de familia, que queriendo ser un buen padre, queriendo ser un modelo de buen padre, lamentablemente me separé de la mamá de mi hijo y ella empezó a tener comportamientos muy agresivos. Tuve que recurrir a la justicia de familia en Colombia y lo que me encontré es que hay una gran, digamos, un miedo, un odio, un rechazo al hombre, porque se presume que el hombre es violento y la mujer es víctima, y en los pocos casos en que la mujer es la violenta y el hombre es la víctima, la justicia no opera muy bien. Las estadísticas muestran que en Colombia un 15% de las denuncias de violencia intrafamiliar la ponemos los hombres Y esa cifra ha venido creciendo en los últimos años. Hace 10 años era solo el 12%, ya vamos en el 15%. Las políticas de prevención de la violencia contra la mujer han funcionado, pero no hay ninguna política y ninguna acción para prevenir a las mujeres violentas. Adicionalmente, varios sociólogos han encontrado en encuestas que al hombre le da vergüenza denunciar cuando es objeto de maltrato. Empecé a investigar y a mandar cartas a distintas entidades públicas que trabajan en temas de justicia, en investigación social de género, y todas tenían la misma respuesta. Solamente analizamos al hombre como violento, no al hombre como víctima. Y encontré más de 26 problemas muy graves, comenzando porque hay normas que protegen a la mujer que no protegen al hombre víctima. Hay los problemas especiales que tenemos los hombres, como alienación parental o falsas denuncias, o el impedimento de visitar al hijo cuando la madre tiene la custodia, en el caso de una pareja de padres separados. Las entidades públicas obligadas de defender al hombre no lo están haciendo, no hay investigación sobre cómo manejar estos temas, no hay investigaciones sobre cómo analizar, no hay desarrollos legales para poder sancionar a una madre o a una mujer que tiene problemas de alienación parental o de falsas denuncias o que está impidiendo al papá relacionarse con su hijo debidamente. Entonces encontramos una gran debilidad, más de 26 debilidades documentamos y la presentamos a Colombia, al Ministerio de Justicia, con un resultado bastante nulo. Entonces, de alguna manera, lo que hemos encontrado es que los argumentos que dan son unos argumentos que no se sustentan en datos estadísticos. Cuando encontramos las pocas investigaciones y encuestas bidireccionales, pues resulta que la violencia es mucho más pareja de lo que realmente nos están diciendo, y hay muchas más mujeres violentas de las que realmente aparecen, digamos, en la respuesta institucional. Todos los recursos de violencia intrafamiliar van a atender a mujeres víctimas y 0 recursos van a atender a hombres víctimas, pese a ser el 15% como mínimo, pudiendo llegar al 40%. Lo que hablan, empezamos a encontrar que se da como una especie de discurso de odio al hombre. Los discursos de odio están definidos por Naciones Unidas, que tienen que tener 3 componentes. Uno, una serie de palabras o una serie de decires en donde se habla mal de una persona, en este caso el hombre. 2, esos discursos se utilizan para discriminar al hombre o se utilizan para incentivar la violencia hacia el hombre. Lo que hemos encontrado nosotros es que hay muchos vocablos o palabras que se hablan mal del hombre. Entonces, por ejemplo, la palabra machismo asocia ser macho con ser malo. La palabra patriarcado, que tanto usan las feministas, asocia ser padre con ser malo. Y así podríamos hablar de un montón de palabras que están asociando cada vez más ser hombre, ser padre, ser masculino con algo peyorativo, con algo malo. Y eso es muy grave, porque esas palabras, esos decires peyorativos se están usando como excusa para discriminar al hombre en la justicia, pese a que la Constitución colombiana nos indica que no puede haber ninguna desigualdad por razón de sexo o género en la aplicación de la ley. Pues eso está ocurriendo. Entonces salen leyes de apoyo a las víctimas mujeres, pero no de apoyo a las víctimas hombres. Eso es discriminación. Y por otro lado, la violencia de las mujeres hacia el hombre ha venido creciendo. El hecho de que hace 10 años solamente un 12% de los hombres fuera las víctimas y ahora son un 15%, quiere decir que la violencia femenina hacia los hombres se ha venido incrementando con una nula respuesta institucional. No hay respuesta por parte de las entidades de justicia en Colombia para analizar el tema de las mujeres violentas. Se siguen concentrando todos los recursos en los hombres violentos y las cartas que hemos venido enviando no son muchas. Realmente considero que es una invitación empezar a entender que el discurso feminista de género ya está dando los primeros pasos para lo que Naciones Unidas llama un discurso de odio al hombre. Con eso quería terminar y quería dar las gracias a la organización que nos ha invitado.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Yes, no problem. Thank you so much, Pedro, for sharing your valuable perspectives on today's contribution towards the International Men's Day celebration and the global observance. I do apologize since I'm not able to understand Spanish. Unfortunately, I cannot provide my feedback on your perspectives, but I do hope that we have some Spanish-speaking audience as well who is able to pick up on the great perspectives I'm sure you were able to share with all of us. And I would love to further look into your findings and the research you're able to provide to the communities that you're working with currently. So thank you so much for your participation today.
Thank you very much.
No problem. Thank you so much. And next up, we have one of our next special guests, which is Adam Zarnowski. So he is going to be introducing himself today, but as a brief intro to his topic, he'll be discussing the trauma and recovery and the impactful contributions of men, as well as with focus on human trafficking and predatory offenses. He's a specialist in that, but he will tell us a little bit more about his work.
Hi there. Thanks for having me.
No problem. Happy to have you as well.
Thanks. So, yes, my name is Adam Zarnowski. I specialize in human trafficking and predatory offenses. I'm just really honored to be here once again. So, thanks again. So, we're talking a little bit about being a positive role model today. And I just wanted to give a little bit of insight onto that issue. One thing that I've learned is that we're all really role models, whether we want to realize that fact or not. We are all constantly being observed, and sort of as was said earlier, we're kind of all being silently critiqued, whether we want that or not. And so it's really important that we all focus on doing our best and sort of modeling the best behavior we want. That we want others to the way others to be. We want others to behave towards us, because they're watching, they're observing, and people model their behavior based on what they see others doing. And so while introspection, psychologically speaking, is one of the hardest things for human beings to accomplish, it's really hard to examine ourselves and our experiences. It's very, very important that we do so that we can make sure we're modeling the absolute best behavior for people to observe and exhibit towards ourselves and others as well, especially when we're around young children.
Thank you so much for sharing your perspectives on this. And I do appreciate that you mentioned a couple of actually really pivotal points, especially reflecting on what was mentioned earlier in our presentation today by Samuel as well. The fact that we're always that global observation to everyone. We're always in the lens of society. And I think that's important that you mentioned that we always want to just focus on being the best we can. I think that's the most simplest way to put it. And I think that's very impacting to our audience today, because we tend to overcomplicate, I think, a lot of how we think of how we should behave and how we should be influenced by things. But really, the simplistic fact is just understanding our behavior and just knowing how to be the best you can, like you said, and thinking of how other people are really reflecting on, how we are viewed and how our behavior is, and how that sets a role model, like you mentioned, for children and other societies going forward. So I think that's really important. And do you have anything further to discuss about some of your findings? Have you been able to find anything that you think is important to share today?
Other than that, human trafficking is everywhere and affects every aspect of human society
And
in
would you say that it
ways,
has more? Sorry.
yeah, in ways that we are only beginning to understand.
Right.
Slavery is an ancient practice that has been with us since we've established societies,
Mm-hmm.
and it is still going on, still in literally in your neighborhood. It
Mm-hmm.
doesn't matter where you are in the world. It's just it's still occurring in the modern world, and our societies, our economies, our our countries, no matter where you are, you're very much dependent upon it. And a lot of my research is involves exploring the ways systems in society are interdependent upon the problem of slavery in our modern society.
Yes, definitely. That's a big impact as well too that I feel like is often overlooked. And the fact that you mentioned the human trafficking and the fact that it's so prevalent in the current society is a little bit shocking to hear. I believe that human trafficking is one of the topics that are not much shed light on, to be honest, in today's society. And a lot of people think that it's gone or it's kind of healed or gotten better because it was often a topic of the news back in the day, and now it's just unfortunately not so prevalent on news. Like we hear about everything else, about car accidents, and we hear about like unfortunate murder cases and whatnot, but human trafficking, like you said, is happening so subtly that still people don't understand the theory behind it. And I would say, based on your opinions and your knowledge, would you say that this affects men and boys just as equally as it does for women?
Oh yes, absolutely.
Okay.
And it affects men and boys in every aspect of our lives. Um, uh, a lot of the jobs we work, the way we're
Mhm.
treated. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, it affects.
Inequalities.
Yeah, absolutely. Labor trafficking is a very real phenomenon.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, it's a huge issue. In fact, if you look at how much money is stolen from laborers through labor trafficking and
Hmm.
forms of labor trafficking, it's greater than all of other forms of crime combined. And yet, police officers aren't trained to identify human trafficking.
Right.
If they are,
To the
we've
minimal
really done a lot
means.
of
Yeah.
research into this
Yeah.
about how poorly trained police officers are. There are no standards when it comes to any form of
Picking up
human
on that.
trafficking training.
I agree.
Yeah.
Well, thank you. Thank you so much for bringing those topics to the table today. And
Well,
I
thank you
think,
again for
again,
having
like I
me.
said, I'm sorry.
Oh no, I just thank you again for having
Okay,
me.
yeah, no problem, no problem. Again, that's the wonderful part here about Voice of Men 360. We kind of paint a huge mosaic when we bring through, like, people from all walks of life and different cultures, languages, and of course, fields of knowledge. So thank you for shedding light on this topic today. Really appreciate it. So next up today, we do have another special guest as well, and his name is Wesley Jones. So he's actually 29 years old, and he's speaking to us from Edmonton, Alberta today. So welcome. And his passion is to discuss topics that are related to suicide prevention. He currently works and volunteers, and he's helping people to avoid perhaps reaching the point in life where they want to take their lives or they want to attempt suicide. And he's trying to help them to kind of make the steps going forward on how to recover and move on forward after potential attempts. So we'd like to welcome you today, Wesley.
Hi, thanks. Happy to be here.
Hi, no problem. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too. So today, I work in suicide. I don't work specifically with men, but I do find that men make up a large chunk of the people who have attempted and that are willing to talk with me. So I guess my little message for the day is a lot of the time when we think about suicide and mental health and men's wellness, we talk about trying to get away from pain and moving on from it and stuff like that. And I think really what we should be trying to do is moving towards emotional pain and just diving into it head first. There are certain things in our lives where men are often encouraged to be strong and tough. And, can you beat someone up? Are you the top person at work? Are you good at sports? Things like that. And then when it comes to things like difficult emotions and grief, working through losses, we don't really push the strength aspect as much. It's more like, oh, well, if you want to run away from that, or like you don't want to deal with that, that's okay. Like if you're lashing out at people, that's okay. And really being strong, I think, it's not about trying to avoid the things that have been traditionally considered maybe a little bit on the weaker side. It's about hopping into those as best we can and being a full human being that experiences a full range of emotions, works through all of their stuff, and is able to be who they are on the inside and not have to conceal that from the world. A lot of the men that I've worked with that end up attempting, it's always the same reasons. I wasn't allowed to talk about it. My culture doesn't encourage talking about it. I don't care. I don't have time to deal with feelings. Feelings are stupid. I have things I need to get done. I have places I need to be, things I need to do. And nobody ever sits down and takes a breath. Like when you try and teach someone mindfulness for the first time, they lose their mind because they're like, how am I supposed to sit here and just breathe for 5 minutes? Like that's 5 minutes I could be doing something else, anything else. And it's like, you need to just take that time because the world isn't going to take that time for you. If you don't take that 5 minutes, that 5 minutes goes away and nobody's going to force you to sit down and take it. It's just, you'll just end up living your life without that. And if you want to be a positive role model, you have to be a whole human being because you are teaching people your behaviors in essence. So if you are reacting and living out past patterns and cycles because of trauma or things that have happened to you, then all you're teaching is that those patterns and cycles are okay. So if you really want to move forwards and teach the younger generations how to be, you have to not write yourself off as part of the past. You have to try and build yourself continuously and hand down the new strategies and skills that you've learned and work towards. And, like men don't attempt suicide as much as women, but men die by suicide at a much higher rate than women. And I think part of that is that we don't have great role models. We don't have people who talk about this. You get people like me. I should be a completely average human being talking about men's health. But because you talk about men's health, all of a sudden you get invited to a show or an event and it's like, oh, look, we found someone who talks about men's health. Like, why don't you share? And it's like, that shouldn't be special. We should all talk about men's health. It's like we say men don't like to talk about it. Men like to talk about mental health, but they like to talk about it in a safe, secure space that deals with who they are and isn't trying to do the top down lecture. We don't want to give them lessons and teach them how to take care of themselves. We want to work with men to bring out their inner strengths and be the best people that they can be and do it shoulder to shoulder and not top down.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Wesley, for sharing your side of how you've dealt with this situation and these experiences. Definitely a very, again, unfortunately hard topic to discuss about, sadly, like you mentioned, that this topic shouldn't be something that's so rare to find someone discussing about, but unfortunately, we still do live in a society where it is so rare. And for someone to come out and publicly speak about it, it is sometimes difficult to find someone who can. And especially you being identifying as a male figure and being able to come forward today at Voice of Men 360 and share that, I think that's what makes it very pivotal and hopefully inspirational to others who can think, you know what, maybe I can share my perspective too, and I can feel brave enough to perhaps maybe change someone's life. Now, the main perspective I really liked about what you mentioned was the fact that we should dive head in. So I also come from a psych background, and that really related well with me. And I think that's an important, very, very important idea because we should face things before we chase it. I always used to like telling people you should face it before you chase it. And our problems is like you said, always bottling it up. We want to chase away things. We want to ignore them, hide them, pretend like they don't exist, rather than actually just trying to sit there and analyze and justify our feelings and be like, it's okay to cry. It's okay to feel down. It's okay to feel upset. So analyzing these thoughts, and especially, like you said, for male figures, it being difficult is something. So thank you for bringing that to the table. And I do, again, hope that that was inspirational to our audience and viewers today, and hoping that somebody can come forward just like you to also share perspectives and be an inspiration for other male figures as well. Thank you so much. So as we come to the end today, I do want to thank all of our speakers today who shared very valuable perspectives. We had Samuel in the very beginning. Unfortunately, he did have to leave early due to his circumstances. And we had Pedro Menéndez, and we had Adam Zarnowski, and also Wesley right now who joined. And we really appreciate here at Voice of Men 360 all the topics you guys bring to the table. And having that bravery again to come out and speak is something on its own. And being male figures, we're very happy to have you here to discuss that and help bring an inspiration for how we can change and look at the wellness and the importance of boys and men's lives. So we do thank you for your participation, and we hope to work with you in the future. And going forward, I do have a couple of special announcements for our viewers and audience. So as I mentioned earlier, we are on our third global observance of the 1 week-long celebration for International Men's Day. Again, this takes place every year from Sundays November 13th to Saturday, November 19th. And actually for this year, we're having every day where we're going to be having 2 hours of virtual events, typically conducted through the Zoom platform. You can register ahead to join on any of these sessions. It's absolutely free. And in case you're wondering when our next session is going to be, it's going to be 7 to 8 p.m. That's actually for parenting and understanding boys. So that's going to be the topic of the discussion. And then we also have 2 sessions happening tomorrow on Friday, November 19th. For Saturday, November 19th. And that will be for 2 sessions. The very first one that we will have will be from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. in Eastern Standard Time. And that will be focusing on men and boys and their journey of success through resiliency and self-efficacy. And the second session we will be having will be from 11 a.m. to 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, which will be a virtual comedy show. So this is going to be something to enjoy, as well as something a little bit different with Voice of Men 360. So we do hope that you can join. And we are always looking for speakers from all walks of life. So we do want to recognize all men who have been contributing to the society through their families, communities, organizations, employment, society, and their social circles on their own. So if you know anyone, or if you feel like you would like to contribute, you can nominate others. Otherwise, you can nominate yourself, and please do let us know, and we'd be happy to reach out, or you can reach out to us. Now, how you can reach out to us is through our phone number, which is 437-889-8329. Otherwise, our email address is info, info, at voiceofmen360.org. So that's voiceofmen360.org. And you can actually find more details about our contact information, which is all on our Facebook groups, as well as this video will also be there under the page of Voice of Men 360. And a little bit about our initiatives for those who are not aware. We have many other live shows as well too that we do conduct to again bring to light the issues of boys and men to light. So number 1 is Open Up. So this is where we share the personal life journey of a special guest. It's a live talk show, and it takes place every Sunday at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. The second program is known as Viri. So this is the same as Open Up, but it's conducted in the language of Tamil. And it's also a live talk show, but it takes place on Sundays at 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. We also have monthly webinars, which take place on the first Saturday of every month at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. So on the webinar, we actually bring in special expertise and organizations, and they discuss special topics with each session. We also have the monthly special show, which is known as the Unspoken Tears. This takes place on the second Saturday of every month from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. So here we focus on very sensitive issues such as domestic violence against men and boys, bullying, male sexual abuse, traumas, porn addictions, and human trafficking. And then we also have the Author Circle, where we aim to bring individuals who have been contributing to our society through their literature, writings, or findings, focusing on the well-being of men and boys. And again, we have many people who have their own writing, their books, articles, media, and we try to recognize them and appreciate them through this event. And that occurs on the third Saturday of every month from 11 a.m. to 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And for those who are not able to kind of join in on our engaging firsthand discussions, we also do have ones that are pre-recorded, which is the podcast, which are all available across all 6 platforms. We have them across iPhones, the iPhone software, Apple, Google Play, and whatnot. And if you have any issues accessing any of this, or you're looking to how you can find them, you can always reach out to one of the team members, and we're always happy to help you with that. And then we also have the monthly men's group meeting. So this is a specialty where it's only men, actually. So it's by men, for men. So it's a fully safe, non-judgmental environment that we aim to bring through together for men to come and discuss, their thoughts, ideas, feelings. And this takes place every 2 weeks on Tuesdays from 6 p.m. to 7:30 p.m. And this is again through the Zoom platform. Unfortunately, this one is not pre-recorded, so there is no recordings for this. You will not be able to access it, afterwards. But for those who can join, it will be taking place live, and again through Zoom. And the link will be available every week on our Facebook page and group as well. We also have our last newest initiative that we've began for a couple months now, which is the Pass the Talking Stick show, which is also a peer-to-peer support group with the Indigenous community. So again, as you can see from all of our initiatives, there are no limitations whatsoever in terms of gender, age, nationality, ethnicity, religious groups, etc. We welcome all walks of life to participate in our shows. If you feel like you would be a great candidate, or you know someone who would be willing to participate and be a part of our organization, you can always reach out to us, and you can actually help us directly or indirectly. We are willing to accommodate in any way. And we are looking for always individuals, professionals, students, experts, communities, organizations, associations, corporations, you name it. So again, for those who missed our contact information, our phone number is 437-889-8329. Our email address is voiceofmen360.org, and our website is www.voiceofmen360.org. You can also access us on all social media platforms. We do have a Facebook group page, so please don't forget to join our group, and you can see our daily activities, findings, articles, and please do invite your friends as well. And we are also available on Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter, YouTube, and TikTok. Please do not forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, which is again Voice of Men 360. Now, the takeaway message for everyone here today that we aim to strive for through Voice of Men 360 is that we never keep our ideas to ourselves or our findings. So for those of you who were thankfully able to watch today, contribute, participate, anything, please do not keep your findings or the knowledge that you've picked up on this to yourself. The only way we can make a positive impact in our world is even if we share this information with even one person, whether that's a friend or a family member. Tell them what you learned about today. Tell them about the importance of boys and men. And when you're interacting with any boys or men, whether that's in your employment or your schools or even at home in your own families, try to talk to them. Try to understand where they're coming from. See if you can help them and share what you know about the importance of boys and men, and enlighten and empower everyone. So again, we hope to reach out to more and more people. I thank you for welcoming me today as well on the Voice of Men 360. Thanks for listening, and we look forward to seeing you again soon. Thank you, and have a good night.